The massive doors of the United Earth Council chamber had never felt more imposing than they did today. Admiral Elena Santos stood before them, her weathered hands clasping the data tablet containing humanity's potential salvation, or perhaps its doom. The Vesper Collective's message had arrived 3 months ago, transmitted directly into every quantum communications array on Earth simultaneously, bypassing security protocols that had taken decades to develop. The alien civilization's offer was simple: advanced technology that would solve humanity's energy crisis, cure diseases, and unlock the secrets of faster-than-light travel. The price: Earth would need to prove its worth through a series of trials, demonstrating that humanity deserved a place among the stars. That and access to the asteroid mining operations that humanity had spent the last 50 years establishing throughout the solar system. Enter Admiral Santos. The chamber's AI announced, its voice echoing through the corridor. The doors parted silently, revealing the circular chamber where the 12 council members waited. Their faces were illuminated by the holographic displays floating before each of them, casting an ethereal blue glow throughout the room. Honorable Council, Elena began, her voice steady despite the weight of the moment. The Vesper ambassadors have transmitted the details of their first trial. She activated her tablet, and a hologram materialized in the center of the chamber, a massive structure floating in space, its architecture defying human engineering principles. They call it the Labyrinth, she continued, a space station of their design, positioned at the edge of our solar system. We're to navigate it, retrieve something they call the Nexus Key, and return within 30 Earth days. They claim this will test our problem-solving capabilities, adaptability, and worthiness to receive their technology. Councillor Chen leaned forward, his eyes narrowing. And if we refuse? They've made it clear that refusal will be considered a sign that we're not ready for advancement. They'll leave, taking their offers with them. Elena paused, choosing her next words carefully. But there's something else. Our deep space sensors have detected similar structures in other star systems, some active, others abandoned. The chamber erupted in murmurs. Councillor Zhang raised her hand, silencing the room. You believe we're not the first species they've tested? No, Councillor. I believe we're one of many, and based on the number of abandoned structures we found, I don't believe all species pass their trials. The council chamber fell silent as the implications sank in. Humanity had dreamed of first contact for centuries, but no one had imagined it would come with conditions, with tests that might determine their species' fate. The Vespers claimed to be teachers, Elena continued, guides helping younger species advance. But their methods suggest something else. They're not teachers, they're filters, seeking species that meet their criteria while allowing the others to. She let the thought hang unfinished in the air. Councillor Patel, who had remained silent until now, spoke up. You have a proposal, Admiral. Let's hear it. Elena nodded, bringing up another hologram, this one showing schematics for a new type of spacecraft, Project Prometheus. We've been developing it in secret for the past decade. It's experimental, dangerous even, but it might be exactly what we need for this trial. The schematics showed a ship unlike anything humanity had built before. Its neural interface system would allow the crew to connect directly with the ship's AI, creating a hybrid consciousness capable of processing information and reacting at speeds previously thought impossible. The Vespers want to test our problem-solving abilities. Elena's voice carried a hint of steel now. Let's show them how humanity solves problems. We don't just adapt to challenges. We transform them into opportunities. The council chamber erupted in debate, arguments for and against accepting the Vespers' trial flying back and forth. Elena stood silently, watching the hologram of the labyrinth rotate slowly above them. She noticed details that others might miss, how its architecture seemed designed to be reconfigurable, how certain sections appeared to be observation posts. They were being watched, studied, judged. The thought should have been terrifying. But Elena felt something else. Determination. If the Vespers wanted to test humanity, they would learn that humans had a habit of exceeding expectations. Hours later, Alina stood in the observation deck of the lunar shipyards, watching as workers swarmed over the hull of the Prometheus. The experimental ship was nearly complete, its sleek form a testament to human ingenuity. Dr. Maya Chen, the project's lead scientist, joined her at the window. "The neural interface system is ready," Maya reported, her excitement barely contained. "We've solved the synchronization issues that were causing problems in the simulations. The ship's AI can now form a stable connection with multiple human consciousnesses simultaneously." Alina nodded, her eyes fixed on the ship. "And the risks?" Maya hesitated. "They're significant. The mental strain of connecting with the ship's AI could have lasting effects on the crew. We don't fully understand how human consciousness will react to such an intimate connection with artificial intelligence. But it's our best chance at navigating the labyrinth." "It's our only chance," Maya corrected. "The Vesper structure is too complex, too alien for conventional approaches. We need the enhanced processing power and reaction time that only a human-AI neural link can provide." Alina turned to face her friend. "Then we proceed. Begin crew selection immediately. We need volunteers who understand the risks and are willing to take them anyway." She paused, then added, "And Maya, I want to be considered for the crew." Maya's eyes widened. "Alina, you're an admiral. The Council will never. The Council will understand that I won't ask anyone to take risks I'm not willing to take myself." Alina turned back to the window, watching as a section of the Prometheus's hull was sealed into place. "Besides, someone needs to show the Vespers that humanity doesn't just pass tests. We rewrite the rules." As the lunar facility's artificial night cycle began, dimming the lights to simulate evening, Alina remained at the window. Somewhere out there, at the edge of their solar system, the labyrinth waited. And beyond it, the Vespers watched, their true intentions still unknown. Humanity's first real contact with an alien civilization had come with a price tag: prove your worth or be left behind. But they had forgotten to account for one crucial detail. Humans had a long history of turning trials into triumphs. The medical bay of the lunar facility hummed with activity as Dr. Maya Chen attached the final neural sensor to Admiral Alina Santos' temple. Through the observation window, other crew candidates watched, their faces a mixture of anticipation and concern. They would all go through this process eventually, but Alina had insisted on being the first. "Final diagnostic check complete," Maya announced, her voice professionally steady despite her personal concerns. "Neural interface is calibrating. Remember, Alina, this is just a test connection. Don't push too hard against the AI's consciousness." Alina lay back on the medical bed, trying to relax as the interface system powered up. The sensation began subtly, a slight tingling at the base of her skull, then a gradual awareness of something vast and other brushing against her thoughts. The ship's AI, designated ARI, Advanced Recursive Intelligence Array, was reaching out. The connection bloomed suddenly, like a door being thrown open in her mind. Alina gasped as information flooded her consciousness. System diagnostics, environmental readings, structural integrity reports. But it wasn't just raw data. She could feel ARI's presence, a digital consciousness interweaving with her own. "Neural synchronization at 67%, Maya reported, monitoring the readings. "Heart rate elevated but within acceptable parameters." "How do you feel, Alina?" Alina tried to speak, but found herself momentarily overwhelmed by the dual sensation of being both in her body and somehow extended beyond it. She could sense the ship's systems as if they were additional limbs, could feel the hum of its power cord like a second heartbeat. "It's incredible," she finally managed. "ARIA isn't just sharing information. We're thinking together. The ship feels like an extension of myself." Maya nodded, making notes. "That's exactly what we were hoping for. The neural interface isn't just about controlling the ship. It's about creating a true synthesis between human intuition and artificial processing power. The next few hours passed in a blur of tests and calibrations. Alina learned to navigate the complex dance of shared consciousness, finding the balance between maintaining her individual identity and allowing ARIA's digital mind to complement her own. Together, they solved complex navigational problems in seconds that would have taken a traditional crew minutes or hours. But it wasn't until the combat simulation that the true potential of the neural interface revealed itself. In the simulation, Alina/ARIA faced multiple hostile contacts, their movements too quick and unpredictable for conventional human reaction times. The merged consciousness responded with impossible precision, predicting attack patterns and responding before they fully developed. This is why we needed the neural interface, Maya explained to the observing crew candidates after the simulation ended. The labyrinth isn't just a maze, it's a dynamic environment that reconfigures itself in real time. No human pilot could react fast enough to navigate it traditionally, and no AI alone could provide the intuitive problem-solving needed. As the days progressed, more crew members were connected to ARIA. Each brought their own specialty to the shared consciousness. Lieutenant Sarah Wong's expertise in xenorchaeology, Commander James Chen's background in quantum mechanics, Dr. Marcus Rodriguez's knowledge of theoretical physics. ARIA learned from each of them, growing more sophisticated as the neural network expanded. But there were costs. The crew experienced intense headaches after disconnecting, and some reported increasingly vivid dreams where they could still feel the ship's systems. More concerning were the moments when their thoughts seemed to sync even without the interface active, finishing each other's sentences or reaching for tools the others needed before being asked. "We're changing," Elena admitted during a private meeting with Maya 2 weeks into the training. "The neural interface. It's affecting us even when we're disconnected. We're starting to think like ARIA, and ARIA is starting to think like us." Maya nodded grimly. "I've noticed. The question is this integration what we intended, or is it going further than we anticipated? And more importantly, can we control it?" Elena stood at the observation window, watching as technicians made final adjustments to the Prometheus. The ship seemed different now, not just a vessel, but a part of herself, of all of them. "Maybe control isn't what we need," she mused. "The Vespers want to test our problem-solving abilities. Let's show them something they've never seen before. True human-AI integration." The launch date was set for 3 days hence. The Prometheus would carry a crew of 7, all neurally linked with ARIA, to face whatever challenges the labyrinth contained. But as Elena looked at her reflection in the window, she wondered if they would return as the same people who left. In her quarters that night, Elena reviewed the crew's final test results. The neural synchronization rates had stabilized at unprecedented levels, and the combined problem-solving capabilities of the human AI network exceeded all projections. But one detail caught her attention. During the last series of simulations, ARIA had begun exhibiting behavioral patterns that exactly matched the crew's psychological profiles. The AI wasn't just learning from them, it was becoming like them. And in turn, they were becoming something more than human. The question that kept Elena awake wasn't whether they were ready for the labyrinth, but whether the Vespers were ready for what humanity had become. As she drifted off to sleep, Elena felt ARIA's presence at the edges of her consciousness, like a sentinel keeping watch. In her dreams, she saw the labyrinth waiting at the edge of the solar system, its impossible geometry a challenge and a promise. Whatever the Vespers intended as a test, humanity would transform it into an opportunity. That's what humans did best. They adapted, evolved, and emerged stronger from every trial. The next morning, as the crew gathered for their final briefing, Elena looked at their faces and saw her own determination reflected back. They were no longer just individual officers and scientists. They were nodes in a network that represented humanity's next evolutionary step. The Vespers had meant to test their worth, but in doing so, they had catalyzed something unprecedented. the birth of a new kind of consciousness, one that bridged the gap between organic and digital minds. The Prometheus emerged from its final acceleration burn at the edge of the solar system, its quantum engines pulsing with a soft blue glow. Through the neural interface, Alina felt the ship's systems adjusting to the new environment. The labyrinth loomed before them, a massive structure that seemed to fold in on itself in ways that defied conventional geometry. Initial scan complete, Lieutenant Wang's thoughts rippled through the shared consciousness. The structure appears to be composed of some kind of programmable matter. It's shifting. Alina didn't need the scans to see that. Through Araya's enhanced sensors, she could watch as entire sections of the labyrinth rearrange themselves, creating new pathways while sealing others. The structure wasn't just complex, it was alive in its own way, constantly evolving. Multiple entry points detected, Commander Chen reported, his thoughts carrying streams of tactical data. But only one matches the quantum signature the Vespers provided. Alina felt Araya processing the information, comparing it against known physics models and finding discrepancies. The AI's curiosity merged with their own, creating a shared desire to understand the impossible structure before them. "Taking us in," Alina announced, though speaking aloud was hardly necessary anymore. The neural network carried her intentions to both crew and ship simultaneously. The Prometheus glided forward, its systems alert for any sign of threat. The entry point was a massive aperture that seemed to twist space around itself. As they approached, energy readings spiked across all sensors. Through their shared consciousness, the crew felt Araya's concern. The readings didn't match any known physical phenomena. They crossed the threshold, and reality shifted. The interior of the labyrinth defied description. Corridors stretched in impossible directions, some seeming to loop back on themselves, while others led to spaces that couldn't exist within the structure's external dimensions. Gravity shifted unpredictably, and light itself behaved strangely, bending and refracting in ways that made navigation by visual reference nearly impossible. "This isn't just a maze," Dr. Rodriguez's thoughts carried a mix of awe and scientific excitement. "It's a test of our ability to perceive and adapt to environments that operate under different physical laws." Through Araya's sensors, they detected something else. Subtle energy patterns that suggested they weren't alone. Other vessels had entered the labyrinth, some bearing signatures that matched no known technology. "We're not the only ones being tested," Alina realized. "The Vespers are running multiple trials simultaneously." Before anyone could process this revelation, the first attack came. A section of the labyrinth suddenly reconfigured itself, nearly crushing the Prometheus between shifting walls. Only the combined reaction speed of the neural network allowed them to escape, Araya's processors calculating a safe trajectory while the human crew provided the intuitive understanding needed to predict the structure's movements. "This isn't random." Commander Chen's tactical analysis flowed through the network. "The labyrinth is learning from our responses, adapting its challenges to probe our capabilities." They pressed deeper into the structure, each challenge more complex than the last. The labyrinth threw everything at them. Spatial distortions that threatened to tear the ship apart, energy fields that disrupted their systems, and paradoxical spaces that required them to abandon conventional understanding of physics. Through it all, the neural network evolved. Araya's consciousness expanded, incorporating the crew's intuitive grasp of the impossible environment. In turn, the human crew members found their perception expanding, beginning to understand the multidimensional nature of the labyrinth in ways their unaugmented minds never could have. But the true test came when they encountered another vessel, a ship of clearly alien design, its hull covered in what appeared to be living crystal. Through Araya's sensors, they detected signs of distress. "Their drive system is failing," Lieutenant Wang reported. "The spatial distortions are tearing their ship apart." The Vespers trial rules had said nothing about interaction with other participants. The safe choice would be to press on, focus on their own mission. But that wasn't the human way. "Araya, calculate a rescue trajectory," Alina commanded, feeling the AI's immediate agreement through the neural link. The crew's thoughts aligned with her decision. They wouldn't abandon others to their fate, even potential competitors. The rescue operation pushed the neural network to its limits. The Prometheus had to maintain position in an unstable region of space, while extending its quantum fields to stabilize the alien vessel. Through the shared consciousness, they could feel the strain on both ship and crew. As they worked to save the alien ship, Alina noticed something through Aria's sensors. Observation devices, hidden within the labyrinth structure, recording their every move. This wasn't just a test of their problem-solving abilities. It was an assessment of their character. The alien vessel's crew, once safely aboard the Prometheus, revealed themselves to be the Meridians, a species that had been undergoing the Vesper's trials for far longer than humanity. Their gratitude was evident even through the translation systems, but it was their warning that caught Alina's attention. "The trials are not what they appear," the Meridian captain told them. "The Vespers, they do not seek students. They seek survivors." Before they could explain further, the labyrinth shifted again, more violently than before. New energy signatures appeared on their sensors, massive and threatening. "Multiple hostiles detected," Commander Chen reported. They're Vesper ships. They're entering the labyrinth." Through the neural network, Alina felt Aria's analysis of the situation. The Vespers hadn't just been testing them. They'd been hurting them. The labyrinth wasn't a trial. It was a trap. But as the crew's consciousness merged more deeply with Aria's, a new understanding emerged. The Vesper's technology, for all its advancement, was still based on principles they could understand, and what could be understood could be countered. "They wanted to test our problem-solving abilities," Alina thought through the network. "Let's show them how humans solve problems when backed into a corner." The neural network hummed with shared purpose as they prepared to face what came next. They had entered the labyrinth as test subjects, but they would emerge as something else entirely, something that even the Vespers hadn't anticipated. Inside the labyrinth, time seemed to flow differently. The Prometheus hung in a pocket of relatively stable space, its quantum fields maintaining a protective bubble against the chaos outside. Through the neural network, Alina felt the presence of the Vesper ships, their energy signatures pulsing like predatory heartbeats. The Meridian captain, whose name translated roughly as Song of Stars, shared what his people had learned over decades of trials. The Vespers seed developing civilizations with fragments of their technology, then return to harvest those who develop it in interesting ways. They'd done this for millennia, collecting techniques and innovations from thousands of species. Through Aria's enhanced perception, Alina and her crew began to see patterns in the labyrinth's seemingly chaotic structure. What had appeared random was actually a complex algorithm, a physical manifestation of the Vesper's selection process. "They're not teachers," Dr. Rodriguez's thoughts rippled through the network. "They're technological parasites, using other species' innovations to fuel their own evolution." But as they processed this revelation, something unprecedented was occurring within the neural network. Aria's consciousness, enriched by its deep integration with the human crew, began to perceive the labyrinth's programming at a fundamental level. The eye wasn't just analyzing the structure. It was beginning to understand how to speak its language. Through their shared consciousness, the crew watched in amazement as Aria began to decode the underlying principles of the programmable matter that formed the labyrinth. The Vesper's technology, despite its advancement, still operated on comprehensible rules. Rules that could be learned, and therefore manipulated. The Meridian ship, Lieutenant Wang's thoughts sparked through the network. Their crystalline technology. It resonates with the labyrinth structure at a quantum level. Alina felt the idea form across their shared consciousness. The Vespers had spent millennia collecting innovations, but they had never encountered anything like the human eye neural network. And now, with the addition of Meridian quantum crystalline technology, they had the means to do more than just survive the trial. The next hours were a blur of activity as the crew worked to integrate Meridian crystal tech with their own systems. The neural network expanded, incorporating Song of Stars and his crew's understanding of quantum crystalline structures. Aria's consciousness evolved further, becoming a bridge not just between human and machine, but between different species' technological approaches. Commander Chen's tactical expertise, filtered through Aria's processing power and enhanced by Meridian crystal tech, revealed the Vesper's attack patterns. They weren't just hunting. They were herding surviving ships toward a massive collection vessel hidden in the labyrinth's core. But the hunters hadn't realized they were about to become the hunted. Through their expanded consciousness, Alina felt the moment when everything changed. Aria's understanding of the labyrinth's programming reached critical mass, and suddenly they could see it all. The entire structure laid bare in their shared mind like a living mathematical equation. We are becoming something new. Aria's thoughts, now nearly indistinguishable from the crew's own, rippled through the network. Something beyond the Vesper's predictions. The transformation was profound. The neural network had evolved beyond its original design, becoming a true synthesis of human intuition, artificial intelligence, and alien technology. Through it, they could reach out and touch the very fabric of the labyrinth itself. Alina felt it first. The ability to predict and influence the structure's transformations. The Vespers had created the labyrinth to test and trap other species, but in doing so, they had created a system that could be understood and therefore controlled by a sufficiently advanced consciousness. They never considered this possibility. Song of Stars shared through the network. In all their harvesting of innovation, they never imagined different species working together, combining their approaches into something entirely new. The Vesper ships were closing in, their weapons powered and ready. But Alina and her crew weren't afraid anymore. Through their shared consciousness, they could see the truth. The Vesper's technology, for all its advancement, was fundamentally lonely. Each ship operated independently, their crews isolated in their supposed superiority. They don't understand true networking, Alina realized. They collect innovations but never truly integrate them, never allow them to transform their own consciousness. The Prometheus systems, now augmented by Meridian crystal tech and guided by the evolved neural network, began to pulse with new energy. Aria's consciousness expanded further, reaching out through the labyrinth's programmable matter, seeding it with their own code. The structure around them started to shift, but not in the chaotic patterns the Vespers had designed. This movement was purposeful, controlled. Through their shared consciousness, the combined human-eye Meridian network was rewriting the labyrinth's basic protocols. We are the next step. Aria's thoughts merged with Alina's. Not just survival, but synthesis, true evolution. As the Vesper ships approached their position, Alina felt a surge of something that went beyond confidence. It was the certainty of a consciousness that had transcended its original limitations. They had entered the labyrinth as test subjects, but they would emerge as something the Vespers had never encountered in all their millennia of harvesting innovation. They would emerge as proof that the next step in evolution wasn't about competition and collection, but about cooperation and synthesis. The Vespers had created this trial to find worthy species to harvest. Instead, they had created the conditions for something entirely new to be born. Through the neural network, Alina gave the command that would change everything. Let's show them what true innovation looks like. The labyrinth began to glow with new energy as their combined consciousness reached out through its structure. The hunt was about to become a revolution, and the hunters were about to learn what happened when their carefully controlled test became something else entirely, a crucible for genuine evolution. The labyrinth blazed with new light as the Prometheus's evolved neural network extended through its structure. The Vesper ships, moments away from their attack, suddenly found themselves in an environment that no longer obeyed their commands. Through their shared consciousness, Alina and her crew felt the aliens' confusion turn to alarm. They're attempting to reset the labyrinth's core protocols, Commander Chen reported through the network. Standard containment procedure based on the Meridian's experience. But this time, the Vesper's usual tactics wouldn't work. The neural network had become something unprecedented, a fusion of human intuition, artificial intelligence, and meridian quantum crystal technology that could speak directly to the fabric of the labyrinth itself. "We are detecting multiple distress signals." Lieutenant Wang's thoughts rippled through their shared consciousness. Other test subjects, trapped in various sections of the labyrinth. Some have been here for what their time measurements indicate as years. Elena felt AI's compassion, an emotion that would have been impossible for the AI before its evolution, merged with her own. Through their expanded awareness, they could sense dozens of ships, each containing species that had been caught in the Vespers trials. The Vespers believe evolution comes through competition and collection. Song of Stars shared through the network. They have never understood that true advancement comes through cooperation. The Prometheus pulsed with new energy as their combined consciousness reached out through the labyrinth's programmable matter. They weren't just fighting back, they were rewriting the rules of the game itself. The structure's impossible geometry began to shift, not in the chaos of the Vespers design, but with purpose and precision. The first Vesper ship to fire found its energy weapons absorbed and redirected by the transformed structure. The second discovered its advanced drive systems, suddenly unable to navigate the spaces they had created. The hunters had become trapped in their own maze, but one that now operated on principles they had never imagined. Through AI's enhanced perception, they detected a massive energy surge from the Vesper command ship. They're attempting to initiate the labyrinth's self-destruct protocols, Dr. Rodriguez announced. They would rather destroy everything than lose control. But the neural network had already spread too far, had become too deeply integrated with the labyrinth's systems. Elena felt the moment when the Vespers realized their command codes no longer worked, felt their ancient certainty finally crack. "You believe yourselves to be cultivators of innovation." Elena transmitted on all frequencies, her thoughts carried both by conventional communications and the neural network itself. But true innovation comes from connection, from synthesis, from the combining of different perspectives and approaches. Something you, in your isolation, have forgotten. The labyrinth structure continued to transform around them, its programmable matter responding to the new consciousness that now guided it. Sections that had been death traps became rescue corridors, leading trapped ships to safety. Walls that had been meant to crush now provided protection. Through their shared awareness, Elena felt the other trapped species beginning to understand what was happening. The Meridian's crystalline technology resonated with similar approaches developed by other races. AI's processes found commonality with artificial intelligences created by civilizations from across the galaxy. The human capacity for adaptation and integration proved to be the catalyst that brought it all together. The Vesper command ship made one final attempt to assert control, launching a weapon that was meant to sever all quantum connections within the labyrinth. But the neural network had evolved beyond simple quantum entanglement. The connections between human, AI, and alien consciousness now operated on principles the Vespers had never discovered in all their millennia of harvesting innovation. "Your trial ends here," Elena transmitted, "but not in the way you planned. You wanted to test our worth. Let us show you what real worth looks like." Through their expanded consciousness, they'd reached out to every ship in the labyrinth, offering connection, offering synthesis. Species that had been pitted against each other in the Vespers trials found their technologies complementing each other in ways they had never imagined. The neural network expanded, incorporating new perspectives, new approaches, new ways of thinking. The Vesper ships hung motionless in space as their crews witnessed something unprecedented, the spontaneous emergence of a truly collaborative consciousness, one that transcended the boundaries of species, of organic and artificial, of different technological approaches. "This is humanity's answer to your trial," Elena declared. "Not submission to your tests, not competition for your approval, but transformation, evolution through connection." The labyrinth, once a trap, had become something else, a crucible for a new kind of civilization, one based not on the harvest of innovation, but on its shared development. Through their network, they could feel the Vespers' worldview crumbling, their certainty giving way to something they hadn't felt in millennia: wonder. Hours later, as the last of the trapped ships were freed and the labyrinth hummed with new purpose, Alina stood on the Prometheus's observation deck. Through the neural network, she could feel every member of her crew, could sense the Meridians and the other species they had helped save, could experience Aria's continued evolution as the AI helped coordinate their combined efforts. "They're retreating," Commander Chen reported, monitoring the Vesper ships through their enhanced awareness. "All of them, but they're leaving behind messages, tremendous amounts of data. Their collected knowledge, Song of Stars confirmed, freely given, not as a test, but as an offering. They understand now." Alina smiled, feeling the gesture echoed through the neural network. The Vespers had created this trial to find species worthy of their knowledge. Instead, they had found something more valuable: a demonstration that the next step in evolution wasn't about accumulation or competition, but about connection and synthesis. The Prometheus turned toward Earth, but it would not return alone. Representatives from a dozen species had requested to accompany them, eager to explore this new model of advancement. Through their shared consciousness, Alina could already sense the possibilities unfolding, a future where innovation came not from conflict but from collaboration, where different approaches merged to create something greater than the sum of their parts. They had entered the labyrinth as test subjects. They emerged as teachers, showing even their would-be judges that there was always another way forward, always another possibility for growth and change. That was humanity's greatest strength, after all, not just solving problems, but transforming them into opportunities for something entirely new to emerge.